let's take rice as one of the most common ingredients that we consume as carbohydrates, and if you place it in the center, what it does is it opens up a whole immersive sort of three-dimensional visualization of what it means to grow the rice, what it means to cook rice, and how that affects your body and the environment.
Revolutions are many, but if you ask me to pick one, I would definitely go for agriculture or farming. Something that changed what we eat and where we eat, and most importantly, how we eat. And if you asked about food or cooking, and the next question might pop in, what is it? Is it just a science or is it an art? People say that it's a mix and match of both, intertwined with culture, politics. Hi, this is Ananda Padmanabhan, and you are watching the Print's Ground Report from Bengaluru, and I am at the Science Gallery Bengaluru. This week, the Science Gallery is opening up with its brand new exhibition, which is Calories, that explores our relationship with food.
With every exhibition, I learn something new, I learn something interesting, and of course, given my interest in history of science, I enjoy that process of learning more and more about it as well. And this time what I learned was that already in the 1780s, Antoine Lavoisier, the French chemist, who made in fact the first calorimeter, began with the assumption that the body consumes food, which is like fuel, and gives out carbon dioxide, and therefore the process of digestion or metabolism must be similar to the process of combustion. And that was the assumption behind him sort of creating this first icebox calorimeter, which then led to other French chemists working on it, and we had then the word calorie come in primarily as a physics term. Then the German physiologists took over from there, so on and so forth. But the way we look at calorie today as sort of a term inevitably attached to diets is very much a product of the idea of the calorie and combustion and human metabolism traveling from Europe, so France and Germany, to America. With William Atwater, we have an exhibit in fact about his work here, who then built calorimeters which allowed human beings to stay in there and study the process. So lots of burning involved, lots of burning to understand how much energy was released. And then although in the early 1920s, the idea of calorie then came to be associated with what we today see, which is diet fads.
So Carbivore is an installation that Priya and I have designed to sort of bring to a society introspective piece. That's a digital immersive sort of commentary on the role of carbohydrates in society. And as you probably know, we consume large amounts of carbohydrates, and carbohydrates have become a centerpiece of all our meals in one form or the other. But what's also fascinating is that it's not just impacting our health and well-being, but it also impacts the environment and our agricultural society, and it actually has a profound impact on socioeconomics of large societies. So what we've done here is that bring together some of the most commonly consumed carbohydrates in its raw form. So for example, they have rice, which is predominantly in a high carbohydrate provider at least in the Indian subcontinent. We have other carbohydrates, including wheat and millets and even potatoes, which are not often thought about as a starch source, actually is well hidden in our foods in all possible forms and shapes. Then there's also some surprises because some of these agricultural practices have more negative impact and some have more positive impact. So we are basically giving a sort of a commentary on what those different variations and impact are. But we didn't want to be prescriptive, so we have treated this as a sort of a reflective art piece where you can actually play around with different carbohydrates and see what it means by yourself. So how is it consumed, how is it grown, what's the environmental impact, what's the emissions impact, what's the soil impact, water impact. So it basically condenses a lot of information in a very sort of immersive and emotional sort of way, so that we can take back sort of this new sense of a heightened sense of understanding of what these actually mean to us and the people around us.
One of the principles that we followed when we develop exhibitions for Science Gallery Bengaluru is increasingly we are focusing on two things. One is that we choose objects of scientific inquiry, because what happened was that if you choose a problem statement, like for example, if you say climate change, then in a way you already pose a problem and you invite people's opinions and answers, informed as they may be or uninformed as they may be, right? Like, because people have opinions, some people have arguments, some people have expert knowledge, some people have sort of, peripheral knowledge, some people have synthetic knowledge, so on and so forth. So you invite that, which is a debate for which the starting point is that there is this problem. What we want to do at the gallery is to allow us as a sort of larger community and interested citizenry to take a pause and say, what comes before the problem statement? Before the problem statement comes the object of scientific inquiry. So Calorie is an object of scientific inquiry. We're not directly entering the problem of malnutrition or overnutrition or diet fads or concerns around, changing understandings of human metabolism, so on and so forth, right? We're taking a step back and saying Calorie for two reasons. One, because it's an object of inquiry. It has had an interesting trajectory from physics into, more and more into food and nutrition and so on and so forth, and biology, of course. But also it's there in everyday life. And so that's the thinking behind choosing topics more generally or themes more generally for the exhibitions and the gallery, but also then behind Calorie. Right?
An important and interesting part of the gallery is having a mediator to navigate through the exhibit as a visitor would pop in.
So Calorie is every tool about food, nutrition, and health. So you just have to walk in, we can have conversations, we can talk about food, you can tell us about food, you can also tell us about what food means to you, what nutrition and health means to you. So most of our people are mediated to walk away with a question. So it's not always the idea is not always to give a solution, but then give them a curious question to ask. And you may not find the answer, but the process of finding the answer is what makes it exciting. Right? And I think that's what the space has been doing, is still continuing to do. Right? We are not going to give you all the answers, but we sure have more questions to ask us, which we will also go back and brainstorm on, which you can also go back and brainstorm on. And I think that's been one of the reasons why we've had a couple of them come back to the gallery and talk about the answers they found out, and that makes it really exciting.
We've got board games, we've got performances, we've got photographs, we've got installations. It really doesn't matter. I mean, we have an annual film festival and a food festival that also. So this time it's like an overkill. It's a food festival with a calorie exhibition. But previously with Carbon we had it, with Sci-560 we had it. Next year will be Quantum. We'll have it with that too. So it's about taking creative leaps to animate or activate as many interfaces with the visitor as possible, so that they're able to relate to the content in a way in which that is most comfortable to them. So those are some of the choices behind it. I wouldn't say we sort of restrict ourselves to saying art alone, but we do pick on artistic formats, and we pick on basically any format that's relevant in order to create that conversation.
Thanks for watching the Print Ground Reports. I'm Anantha Pattaravan signing off. Until next time.